And right now, we are 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day. Romaine Bostick alongside Katie Greifeld taking you through to that closing bell with the global simulcast. It starts now. Carol Massar, Tim Stenovec join us from the radio room. Welcome to our audiences across all of our Bloomberg platforms, including our partnership with YouTube on an incredibly busy day for financial markets. I'm not sure where you want to start. Carol Massar, the president has been on fire all day long, tweeting out a bunch of policy proposals, I guess if you can call them that, could affect a whole swath of industries. Take your pick.
No, exactly. We've been talking to folks who are watching the market, and like whether it's a headline and then you got to wait to see the details of ultimately does this turn into some kind of policy from the White House. But yeah, the defense industry, the housing industry, some of the big investment firms, the private equity guys, we've definitely seen them react to news out of the White House.
Interestingly enough, it was enough to kind of change the overall tone of the trade this afternoon when the president did go on social media and make these proclamations, pronouncements,
proposals.
Perhaps? I do have questions about some of the enforceability
social media posts
of some of these, but they're certainly moving markets and they move individual stocks too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you take a look at Blackstone, there's a lot of questions about how exactly this ban might actually be implemented if it is more than a trial balloon. But you take a look at the shares, down 5.5%. Certainly someone is taking this seriously.
And we should just point out, too, just to be very clear, a couple of these proposals basically could only happen with the help of Congress. And as we know, Congress has had some serious issues with regards to getting anything done. Don't forget, there's still a budget battle that has to be resolved by the end of this month. And, of course, with the recent passing of a key member of the Republican caucus, you now have a much smaller majority to maybe potentially get things on. And we should also point out, we are getting a headline crossing the Bloomberg terminal right now that President Trump is scheduled to deliver his State of the Union speech on February 24th. So a lot's going to be going on over the next few weeks for investors to keep an eye on out of Washington that will have a direct impact on what happens on Wall Street. As for what happened today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 466 points, or about 0.9%. The S&P lost 24 points, or 0.3%. The NASDAQ Composite managed to hold on to its gains for the day, but only just up about 0.2% here on the day. The NASDAQ 100 up about 0.1%. The Russell 2000 in the red, down 0.3%.
All right, back to the S&P 500 I go, and most names in that index lower in today's session, guys. 389 names losing ground in the S&P 500. Katie, 114 to the upside.
Yeah, breath was not too pretty when you take a look at this circle of sectors. In terms of what did well today, healthcare having a surprisingly good day, up about 1%. Communication services, too. Information technology, that's only higher by about 0.1%, but we know that that's a pretty big weighting. In terms of
Why is it called
downside,
information technology?
I don't know. It feels very formal. I usually just call it tech, but
old school, right?
Services.
Listen, the circle says information
technology. Can someone talk to S&P about this?
I'll try if they're watching. Anyway, I have to tell you about utilities, Romaine. It was down about 2.5% as a sector. Industrials, materials, also some of your biggest losers, Carol.
How do you get anything done over there, Katie?
Exactly.
You know,
and the award
it's a give and a take.
Yeah.
You know, they keep her sequestered on the other side of the building.
That's true.
Just so she gets work done.
I only see Romaine for 2 hours a day.
That's all the doctor ordered.
All right,
Carol.
well, you do it well. All right, let's get to some of the individual gainers. Hey, guys, you want to see something really cool? Go to NDX Index DES, SPX Index DES, and the 4 top gainers in both of those averages are exactly the same.
Cool.
Intel, Regeneron, CrowdStrike, and is it Palo Alto? I just think that's kind of wild.
All right, cool. None of those names are on the screen.
Okay. Intel is the #1 gainer in the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100. It was up more than 11% at its intraday high today, finishing with a 6% gain. That intraday high, highest level since April of 2024. Bond trading volume jumped on this one. Options trading surged, led by those $46 calls. Keep in mind that Mobileye Global, of course, buying that humanoid robot maker Menti for $900 million. Mobileye's biggest shareholders is Intel, according to Mobileye. So I don't know. That was the only news I could find, but I just thought it was kind of interesting.
Okay, that's a stretch. By the way, did you see all the humanoid robots everybody's been parading out at CES?
They moved very slowly.
They're very scary. No, did you see the Boston Dynamics one?
Yeah, that's one.
Like if I saw that walking down the street, I would cross.
That guy can. That robot can do cartwheels.
Is it still the little dog, or are we talking about a different?
No, this is
it's like your size.
Person. Oh God!
You're probably
keep
stronger.
it away from me. I doubt that.
All right, moving along, everybody. Anywhere Real Estate, ticker is HOUS. That was definitely a gainer in today's session, finishing the day with a gain of about 17.5%. Compass also higher. We'll bring that one up 9.5% to the upside. Anywhere real estate shares climbing to their highest level intraday since 2022 after announcing that its acquisition by Compass cleared regulators. So again, that deal getting done. So we saw both of those names to the upside. And then one more for you, LGI Homes. Oops, maybe we shouldn't bring it up.
But we did. There it is.
It was up almost 10% at its highs today, finishing with a decline of 1.6%.
This is
I love
why I
this.
don't-
For our viewers who don't know, or listeners, I should say, Carol, her job, her only job, is every day to come out and tell you which stocks rose. But very frequently, she sometimes has something on
Okay,
there
not
that
too
actually.
frequently. Not too frequently.
It's the first time it's happened
This is why,
year.
just a note to our producers who give me a hard
Katie,
time about like
also
why I
not
don't
nice.
send the names that are down until, like 3:58 p.m. It's because I just want to make sure they're still declining.
You know what? Not Happy New Year to you two anymore.
All right, let's move on because I've got a few decliners for you guys.
I have a decliner for you too, Tim.
Oh, you do. Let's talk though about defense names. Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics, all down to the tune of more than 4% today. President Trump pledging to block dividends, stock buybacks, and overcompensation of executives until defense companies speed up production and maintenance of military equipment. The president said execs at these companies should not be allowed to make in excess of $5 million until his concerns are addressed. When I say these companies, he talked about defense companies overall. He didn't name these companies specifically. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, just actually, now that you're saying that, Trump actually out with a Truth Social post right now, this on involving RTX. He refers to it as Raytheon. Of course, this changed its name to RTX. It was lower by 2.5% in the cash session, now down an additional 2% here in the after hours trade. And he specifically calls them out, basically hitting, I'm not going to read this all, but basically hitting on some of these issues with their relationship with the Defense Department, or Department of War, as he calls it, and wants them to stop paying dividends.
I'm interested in what exactly prompted this. It sounds like delays of equipment and just how long it takes for this stuff to come. But I would like to hear, what exactly it was that prompted him to send out this post. And
Well,
also,
according to him, he says he wants Raytheon, this is a quote, step up, start investing in more upfront investment like plants and equipment, or they will no longer be doing business with the Department of War. And if Raytheon wants further business with the United States government, under no circumstances will they be allowed to do additional stock buybacks. This goes on and on. I encourage our viewers to go and check out the full Truth Social post.
Yeah, we should remind everybody, a lot of these contracts are long-term contracts. They're years in the making, and the fulfillment of these contracts are years in the making.
Yeah.
There are not many companies that can actually do what these specific companies do. So I don't know how much, what the enforcement mechanism would be for certain elements of this. But look, it's a story that we're going to keep following, and it's definitely moving the names of these individual stocks. Also moving lower today, thanks to the president posting on social media, shares of companies that are in the space of owning homes, institutional investors that own single-family homes. So Invitation Homes spun off from Blackstone years ago. I think it was back in 2017, down 6% today. American Homes for Rent falling 4.3%. Blackstone itself, a major owner of single-family homes, down 5.6%. The president said that he would move to ban institutional investors from buying single-family homes. He said, we'll learn more at Davos. The president said he was, quote, immediately taking steps to ban large institutional investors from buying single-family homes in a push toward promoting housing affordability. So these companies and more fell today. And finally,
Why do I have to wait for Davos?
that's where we're getting more details.
Oh, okay.
More details. Of
When
the
is
plan.
Davos?
It's coming up.
Soon.
Soon, yeah.
2 weeks.
Okay.
Also in the red today, Skyworks Solutions and Qorvo down. Skyworks down 9.7%, Qorvo down 7.5%. Notable laggards in the semiconductor stocks as investors await an update about regulatory paperwork for the planned merger of these two Apple suppliers.
I just want to break in with some breaking news. This coming from AbbVie. Remember, we had a Wall Street Journal report earlier today that AbbVie is in, quote, advanced talks to purchase Revolution Medicines. Now learning, AbbVie saying that it's not in talks to acquire the cancer drug maker Revolution Medicines. That is according to a spokesperson. You take a look at the reactions in shares. AbbVie shares down about 1% after hours. Revolution down about 13% after hours. That's after a day in which it gained about nearly 30% in the regular session on this deal speculation. Some of that being reversed right now, Romaine.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, we take a quick look at yields. You did see a lot of activity in the yield space today, but the net effect of it all, at least on the shorter end of the curve, was not a whole lot. You saw a slight uptick on the 2-year yield, a slight downtick on the 5-year, and the 10-year yield. But on the longer end of the curve, when we were talking with Kevin Nicholson about this just about an hour ago here, keep an eye on that 30-year yield, down about 5 basis points today to around 4.8202 and change.
All right, guys, some earnings crossing the Bloomberg terminal. Constellation Brands, and we see this stock moving higher in the after hours. The company reported comparable earnings per share for the third quarter that beat the average analyst estimate. So we're talking about $3.06 a share versus an estimate of $2.64. Net sales $2.22 billion. That's down 9.8% from a year ago. The estimate, though, that is above the street estimate of $2.16 billion. And again, you can see that stock up about 3 1/3 in the after hours.